I suppose I taught around the world in different places before I had children. And I was also a registered teacher. I taught in all sorts of different types of positions, but very rarely, only for one continual year did I teach as a full-time classroom primary teacher. And yeah, I didn't like it much. I found it was very, very crazily stressful for what, things you had to do when it could be a far more enjoyable experience, I thought. But when I was in teaching with CSIRO, I met these people coming to the centre who were not at school. They were coming during school hours, and I said, who are these people? And they said, oh, we're homeschoolers. So I was sold from then on. I didn't have my own children at that time, and I ended up teaching homeschoolers directly on the Gold Coast down in Tallabudgera, a homeschooling group down there, doing science with them mostly. And then I moved up here, and I had no intention of having children. I've been married 10 years by that time. And then suddenly I went, oh, I like it here. People take their children everywhere. Children are involved with everything because there's not a lot of services. It's a small country town, and the attitudes towards kids are really good. So I just thought, let's have a couple of kids. So there was never, ever, they were never, ever going to go to school. Simple as that. So I taught in and out of the classroom in high school from that point, when I got to the small country town, up until Sky was about, until Sky was born, actually. Kirk was 5 years old and just starting his homeschooling journey. And then we went to, I took on another job so that I could stay home. And then just this week, my child is 15, my eldest child is 15, and he's started his first job. He's done 4 days straight picking blueberries at the farm. Local, and it's like, oh wow, we've got there. We've made it. I just found that I really liked what homeschoolers had before I had kids, and I really wanted what they had, and that was, a good, strong family relationships. I found there with homeschoolers, there wasn't a big gap between the two generations, and they have warmer, better, closer relationships with their kids. The kids at the other end educationally still came out pretty much the same. What they don't have is the major stress and disorders caused by school, and especially the kids who are ASD and have social issues with the structure of school. They don't end up with that. But homeschoolers tend to be better with adults, tend to assimilate to work much more easily. Kirk's certainly done quite well this week, going for his very first time, a whole week doing practically full-time work. I think he's handled it quite well with all the adults. He's not shy of them in any way because he's got that confidence because he's always had adult mentors around.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know that we looked into homeschooling, just the difference with the feeling of everyone wanting to help. I remember meeting you for the first time, and the lengths that you went to help us to get started that's just echoed with so many families. It's special. It's really special to be a part of homeschooling community. We feel very privileged to have found it, and it's very normal for people to.
Lucky, that's for sure.
Hey,
we're very lucky, aren't we?
So very lucky.
I found it.
Yeah.
People running around don't know that it exists, Although a lot of them are aware of it now since COVID. Yes, it's one thing it has done.
Yeah. Although they're not really feeling the real effects of it. They're not really seeing, they're not really experiencing.
One aspect, They've got one aspect of it, that'll do.
Yeah. Do you ever look at a style of homeschooling that you do?
When I started, I was all very Steiner, and I thought I was going to have this lovely Steiner home environment, and I didn't. I got Kirk. Kirk is a tech kid, and he's just like his father in that respect, and all he wants to, he's very technology oriented. He's not academic, but he has a really good memory, and he likes facts and things, and he loves history and things, so he absorbs all that himself.
Yeah.
So I chucked that away because he didn't want to do art. He didn't want to do this and that. So all the Steinerish stuff. And 5 years later, Sky was ready to start her journey. It's like, oh, how do I pull back and start doing Steinerish stuff again? I've sort of been able to do a little bit, but I'm afraid we're just eclectic now. It's whatever we can throw together. And I let the kids have their heads a lot. I let them do their own thing much of the time. Like I dictate that certain work must be done in order to cover the maths. If they decide to enter school at any time, this is what you must have.
Yeah.
I'm well aware, of, the kids can catch up and all that, but it's a bit harder for maths. English-wise, fairly flexible with that. I don't tend to teach a lot of English. I teach it as it comes, and we do a lot of science, and that sort of carries our English. And we do lots of reading. We love reading. So, and that's enough. I think the kids who read a lot will tend to write quite well. That said, they are two different skills, but they have a far larger vocabulary. They've seen different ways of expressing themselves, stuff like that. So yeah, eclectic. Like today we spent all day at the Flying High Bird Park down at Apple Tree Creek near Childers, and it was fabulous, and heaps of kids had a wonderful time. And we had a lot of our homeschoolers up here have chickens. Chickens are such a great vehicle for learning. So a lot of them were able to talk with the owner there and discuss birds, and their problems and issues quite knowledgeably, because they also had a lot of chickens there too. So,
and that's what we do a lot, or what we used to do a lot, getting in amongst it. You go to things to learn about them.
Hands-on. Just do it. Go there, be there, So like we're doing, last year we did quite a lot of study on turtles, but more about being there. Like we went out to Musgrave Island and we did the whole divey thing and saw turtles there. We went to a coral growing place, learned about foods and stuff that some of the turtles eat corals. We had a whole camp based around the environmental aspects of turtles and things like that. And of course we went to the turtle center and watched one coming up the beach and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And their center in it is fantastic. It's brilliant stuff. So they did lots of hands-on things. Yeah, well, and when you tell them to sit down and write stuff, it's like, oh, do we have to? Like, okay, we'll just do easy stuff, But they get it. The knowledge is there. It's not all about, regurgitation.
That's exactly right. Before COVID, more of our stuff was we'd go out and do it, come back and write about it. Because then through those experiences, you understood it and, you can relate some more. They have their own thing. I think at the end of the day, we've got to allow them in some way to go in their own direction, because that natural progression within learning is so much better, we found, with key interest learning, because they're interested. That's half the battle.
We could invent a new method of learning. It's called down the rabbit hole. So
I love that.
The homeschoolers down the rabbit hole style of learning.
That's exactly what it is. You just they meander, and before you know it, they're off and running.
That's what my eldest does. Actually, both of mine do, but my eldest especially. He's he gets onto one thing and he says, "Oh, Mum, look at this," and he'll send me something that's really funny, taking him off down another path.
It's completely like that.
It's interesting. So you're living on a little country property, where we live. Not much changed. It was just like an extended Christmas holiday, really extended. Yeah. And we did sort of stop for a little while and pause. We sort of went, oh, this is interesting. Let's just watch what goes on here. So we watched a lot of media. We don't have television, but, we watch through other screens and devices and things and doing, Facebook and stuff. It's interesting what comes through. And we just got on with our life, and maybe we went to town once a week. Because we're not that far out of town, but there's no need to go when you're well stocked. We'll have regressed. A lot of kids have regressed during this period. A lot of parents are saying that it freaked their kids out, and especially being shut inside, not able to do a lot of things, and especially for the practical learners, this was really hard. And for the ASD kids, they felt like the world really was coming to an end because it was also very apocalyptic on television. A lot of kids just sort of went into like a torpor, and they just sat on their computers a lot of the time, playing games and just self-soothing sort of thing. So I'm seeing there's quite a few reports to check and stuff that, people send me stuff to check that say, well, we regressed this year during COVID. It was, really quite distinctive. The handwriting's gone backwards. This has gone backwards. It's like, wow. So for us, it was just like a nice little break where we got a bit more done around the house. And for other people, it was quite challenging. So there's a lot of people who are going to have to repair things